Hey, this is Malika with Evanston Live TV, and I have with me Dr. Devon Horton. Yes, welcome to the show.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Horton, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I just had coffee with a new dear friend of mine that I met in Leadership Evanston out of the Evanston Community Foundation, Adina Kleinman, and we talked about you, Dr. Horton. And she was like, I'm really sad to see him go. I was like, yeah, a lot of people are sad to see him go. We're sad to see you go, Dr. Horton. You're leaving D65. You
Yeah.
were, I'm going to say, I'm going to give you, what's the saying? I'm going to give you your flowers.
Oh yeah.
Is that
Thank you.
you came into D65 as the superintendent during one of the toughest times that the world was going through, the pandemic,
Yes, ma'am.
with no instruction, no manual book on how to handle a pandemic, especially handling all the children in Evanston, Illinois.
Yes, ma'am.
And I commend you, I praise you, much respect to you because you were all about keeping the children safe and alive. And that alone, I mean, you've done so much with D65, but that alone just speaks to your heart that you are a superintendent for the youth because you were determined to keep them safe and alive as well as your staff. So
Yes.
thank you so much. If no one told you thank you enough for that, thank you.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, it was definitely some times that no one had a blueprint for, and but we had a few missteps, but I think overall we did better than most districts in the country regarding keeping our students safe and our staff in our community. I think that is we had to shift the sale. I told my team last year when we were trying to come back from the pandemic about really getting back into the work. But the most important piece is that we remain and live, and I wanted to continue to live by our big five that I brought in: courtesy, dignity, respect, professionalism. But that fifth one has been humanizing, and that was most important in that work, in that decision to keep us open with the board, who really believed, and I think that's where I got lucky. With a board that was aligned, they believed in the same thing. So it was great.
Yes, yes. It helps to have a team where everybody has the same vision, same want, same desire. Um, Dr. Horton, why are you leaving us? What is going
Well,
on? Well, one, congratulations, because I
thank you.
know, you're making this move because it's the best move for you and your family. So tell the people,
Yeah,
like, how did this come about?
yeah, it came about. Evanston was a blessing for me and my family to be able to come in and to lead such a phenomenal community. And to be honest, I think COVID brought out the best in some of us, and also some of the worst. And during that time, while we were doing this work, the board gave me some priorities prior to me starting that they really wanted to lean into, and I was finding a way to, number one, to identify a source to fund a school in the Fifth Ward, and to get that over the hump. So that was a heavy lift. I also think that it was important. Another thing that came about when you do that kind of work, that disruptive work, that changes the norms. You have to be prepared for the uncomfortableness that comes with it. And I really believe in leadership. There are phases of leadership, and I think when I came into D65, they had just went through a situation with the prior leadership it didn't end well, as if the prior leadership before that didn't end well, and so it was always this: okay, new leader comes when things are on the mend and the things are need to be rebounded and it's down. Well, I wanted to make sure on my journey, like there's the leaders that lead from the front, from the middle and the back, and then also there are the leaders that I think about. There's leaders that come in that's critical to be able to disrupt the norm that was there. There's a leadership that needs to build the foundation for the new structure. And then there's a leader that's there to lead it. And I believe what has happened with me coming in, disrupting, build new foundation, and now handing it off to a colleague of mine, Dr. Angel Turner, who now can run with that. We're not perfect. We don't have everything in place, but she will be able to, it's a foundation there that she can lift from. And just to be honest, Malika, I study history and I pay attention to it. The leaders who transition out of here, nobody's left out on a good note, and the last two superintendents hadn't. And I'm smart enough to understand when you lead with disruption and you move people's cheese, you get a lot of enemies. And I wanted to make sure that the work that was being done, that we were able to accomplish, that was historical, stayed separate from the personal attacks to me. And so by me parting ways, I really believe that racism and that anger and that hate is sitting idle right now, because now what do you target? Because the person you were saying was all of these false things. I felt like I got the people who got crushes on me and they chasing me around all over the country all of a sudden, right? To just say things. But I was able to leave. But DeKalb County, it's a school district that I have been made aware of back in 2014 when I originally went to East St. Louis. And the superintendent there, who's my mentor, had told me about it. So I started paying attention to it back then. But it's a community with 93,000 students. It's a K-12. To be honest, K-8, it was fun, but I need to be able to follow my students all the way through. I think that's another piece. And then I just look at the different expectations that this community has for the K-8 district versus the high school district is really unwarranted. And 202 is doing really well, but understand 99% of those students come from us, right? So we're giving them the foundation, regardless of what people want to agree to or not. That got a little old, right? Really quickly. And then the whole thing, and I have a great relationship with Dr. Campbell, but it's just a weird dynamic, a K-8 and then the high school. And I was a high school principal. So I want to be able to get back in the ranks of being able to see my students, my babies all the way through to get them to the finish line. And then DeKalb is just a place, to be honest, I think it is a hallmark for this country. If DeKalb can do it, then there's no excuse for any other district in this country to not get it right. And there's going to be some challenges there. I'm not going into a cushy job. I'm not going north of here to Winnetka, where I'm at. I'm going to the south. They have some other challenges, but it's a group of people I've had a chance to meet a lot of individuals that care about kids. They're really bright, and now it's about building systems and locking in on policy, people, and practice, so that DeKalb County can now make that lift. And I think this is going to be fun for me and my family, getting some better weather. And I don't have any plans to make any other moves beyond that. I think it's really exciting just to go into a community where they see that there are gaps. They admit and own that there are gaps collectively, and they understand their challenges. They know that they need transformation, versus a community where transformation is viewed as a negative thing. Here is viewed as negative, knowing that those things need to happen. So this is why DeKalb was prime. It was the perfect timing for me to be able to move on, and I don't have to leave out in dire situations like the prior superintendents. This community here in Evanston can be very relentless. Even with all the love and the phenomenal people that are in support, there's such a loud group, such a loud group of people that continue to push. And disruption will always you have to know when it's time to just say to get off the pot. And it's my time to get off and hand it over. I think I hand it over to a great leader who's coming behind, has been working with me for more than just the last few years. We've worked together in the past, and I think she's going to be amazing for this community.
Awesome. I was going to ask you who was taking over. So that's Dr. Angel Turner.
Yes.
Okay. Mhm. Okay. Well, you're leaving us in good. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. Dr. Horton, gosh, you brought up so much just now. I know one of the things that I loved your response to those calling you the disruptor. I think that's a compliment. I think that's a compliment when people call you the disruptor, because you came in and you transformed and you shifted people's perspective on education for children. So, those parents, I mean, you were getting death threats, people were vandalizing your car. I'm like, where are we? What city is this that we live? We're supposed to be
But go on the record, is that the media did not cover this, and it's okay. There was a parent that came by my home, threatening me. With a gun, right? Like all of these things. They got arrested. And they talked about, can they get their license back? All these things happen, right? but the media will say it didn't, or they'll not mention that. So you didn't know it. But I don't say this because I want sympathy. I'm saying these things. So when I had that security, that's why the security was there. It wasn't just security for fun. It was security because someone came by my home, a parent. And so there's a lot to be said about society in this current state of things right now with race and social class and the LGBTQ community, the attacks that happen. There are a lot of problems, and it's not just in words; it's in action. So I would say this job, again, I think that hard work has been done. The next leader, Dr. Turner, don't have to walk in the mud the way I had to because we're in a different spot. She can now carry this district and get back to teaching and learning, right? Which is the most critical aspect of what we do as educators.
Yes, and I love your response to some of those really, I don't even want to call them angry parents, crazy
Mhm.
parents to show up to your door with a gun and all sorts of other things that I knew, that you and the board were going through. Um, One of the complaints was uh, that you were taking focus away from their children. And I loved your response to that. You're like, look, my job, my role is to help all the children, not just advance your children.
Yeah,
I'm here to help all the kids and make sure that all the kids are prepared to get
yeah,
into ETHS, go in
yeah,
prepared, all the kids. And I was like, now that's a superintendent. That's how you're supposed to think. You're supposed to think about all the children.
yeah.
And your response was, and if you want to take your child out because you want some focus on your child, then by all means, go to a private school.
Mhm.
Then you
Well,
pay to go to private school.
I'm gonna say this. I'm a fan of parents choosing, and so my position on that really is, if parents choose to place their children in a private school, I support that. That's their choice.
Mhm.
But their decision to place their kid in a private school will not drive how we lead and how we educate our children here. We will still do that. And as many students as we lost on the top end with wealth, we also lost a higher percentage of students who were on free and reduced lunch because this town is becoming, in society in general, not just this town, is becoming more and more unaffordable. And so we lost students on both ends of that. And there's students across all districts across the country that serves the population that we serve have lost students. It's not unique to Evanston, contrary to what some of the people in the peanut gallery would want to say. We're losing students across this country. Last school year, when they opened up, there were 280,000 students missing across the country that no one can account for. Um, so where are they? Some homeschool, many never return. I'm not sure, but it's the thing, right? We just went through a worldwide historical pandemic, so it's to be expected, right? Um, yeah.
Mm, mm. Well, I don't know how you were able to handle all of that mentally and still run the school district. That's a lot. Threats on you. I mean, I just couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe it that those things were happening to you, and all you wanted was the best for the kids. That was all
Yeah,
you wanted
yeah.
for
You
all
know,
the kids.
I'm just thankful for the people who do support this work, that are courageous, not sitting on the sideline, not watching, but the ones who get out and speak and support and are engaged. I really appreciate them. And there's a lot of families and a lot of people in this community that do exactly that. So I'm truly thankful for them and honored to have had them, to be a part of their journey. That's the great. I think that's a higher percentage of people in this community. So I don't want anyone to think that that the support isn't here. It's there, but you just have to understand. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And I think this is a good time for me. I would say this again. If you look back at the last couple of superintendents, I don't know any of them, but that neither one were able to leave on their own terms. They left under some kind of whatever, and even the attempts to try to create some nonsense for me. It's been really great to have the board that I work with to understand the work that we're doing, and just letting the I'm gonna call them the haters, the haters be the haters. It is what it is, and so I'm just excited about where this district is going to go, and I'm even more excited about was going to happen for the students and the families in DeKalb County schools as well, when we partnered with that phenomenal board there.
Now, the Fifth Ward School, now, I was celebrating because that was an injustice done to the Black community many, many years ago. And yes,
56 to be exact.
56 years, longer than I've been alive. That's an injustice that no one was trying to really repair. No one was really putting forth a serious effort to repair. And there were people who were in position to change it. And it didn't happen. Even people of color, Black people, were in position to change it. And they chose to keep it integrated. And, that's, there's nothing wrong with integration, but
Right. No, no.
why inconvenience and really harm the Black children? The Fifth Ward at that time was the predominantly Black ward. So why would you do that to them? If you want integration, then bring your kids over to the predominantly Black school. I just, it's a painful topic to talk about. But one of your commitments when you came here was, I'm gonna get that done. I'm gonna get that done. Even though the Fifth Ward now is no longer the predominantly Black ward, so that school is going to be
Diverse.
very, very diverse. The Eighth Ward now is the predominantly Black ward. But point is, you made the commitment and you saw it through. And you saw it through.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, no problem. Thank you. It's really the other part to that is that it is a community, the area that has, it's an extremely dense community with students. Let's just get into the students. One of our, just like the Eighth Ward, has one of the highest percentage of students in the district that lives in that community, in the Fifth Ward. While we have schools that sit in other parts of this community or attendance boundaries that don't have anywhere near as many students living in that community, and they have walkable schools. So it was just a really great opportunity. I think the stars aligned, going back to the phenomenal board that was in place, that's in place here in 65. I think the multiple efforts, if I'm not mistaken, there were 4 efforts to try to do this over the last 56 years. Those efforts really helped us to create a blueprint to be able to get to this point now. I don't know if you're aware, but on June 20th, we're having a celebration of the Fifth Ward dedication at 4:30 at Foster Field. There'll be food, there'll be speeches. You get a chance to kind of, we have about 200 something people registered for that event. That's exciting to see that an idea and a dream came together, and we were able to put together a funding plan that some say it's crazy to call it, but it was creative to be able to get it funded where it doesn't cost our taxpayers any additional dollars. We have to raise taxes, no referendums, no anything like that. And we took advantage of just really, we didn't want to let a good crisis go to waste. We just came out of a situation for the pandemic the year before, and we launched the student assignment plans. And our director, Sarita Smith, has been amazing. She's local. She was impacted by it. Her family was impacted by it. So I knew to put the right person with the right passion in place. And I think it's been amazing to see what has happened and how the community and how the city, we're working hand in hand with the city of Evanston. And I know you are keen, your ears to the ground, Malika. 65 in the city, we had not had a great relationship in quite some time. But I'm just going to go on the record, public record, and say we have an amazing relationship with the city of Evanston. And I really believe, I know it came from our partnership in working with getting this Fifth Ward done. This Fifth Ward school established and built, we couldn't have done it without them. We have great partnerships with Family Focus. And there's some other individuals that are really powerful and invested in their social capital behind us getting this done. And I want to just thank anyone who's ever supported us, came and spoke at a meeting, or wrote a comment in a paper to support this. So I'm thanking them. And we didn't have to kiss the ring of the wealthy, because it happens, right? A lot of times we did this, through blood, sweat, and tears and collaborating. And I think that is where, when we talk about what can be great about this country, is when you get a group of like-minded people together, where they're passionate enough skilled enough and courageous enough and ready to be disruptive, some amazing things can happen. And I wish I could call the school Disruptive Academy, but that's a joke. It's definitely an opportunity for our students and families to be able to experience, I think, one of the more innovative schools that we're going to find in this area.
Yes, yes. You wanted it. The vision was, a state of the art, one of the best schools for the country. You wanted to be known as one of the best schools in the country, and I love that vision.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Not just, okay, let's just put another school back in the fifth ward. Let's just do this for the people. No, you were like, no, this is going to be one of the best schools.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Wow. So, and I didn't understand all the anger about that. I was like, okay, you all do realize he's nowhere near 56 years old. So he wasn't responsible for the schools leaving. He just got here, what, 4 years ago? 3 years ago. 3 years ago, he just got here. And everyone is acting like it's your fault. I was like, the man got here I was saying 3, 4 years ago and made a promise and a commitment. And he's seeing it through, and people are still mad. Like, I just didn't understand that. I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But thank you to you, your team, and definitely there were those who made some efforts prior to you coming to
Yeah.
D65, and I'm sure that laid down some footprints for you to kick the door in.
Absolutely.
But I definitely thank you for having the courage and the boldness and the fearlessness to kick the door
Yes,
in.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
To kick the door in. So thank you. So I love, I'm going to let you go because I know you got to get going. You got a lot going on. Um, your description of a disruptor. So are you saying come in, bring that positive transformation, be bold, kick the door in, and then you got to know when okay, time to move to the next one.
You got to know that. Yeah, you got to know that. And along the way, build systems and your team. Policy, people, practice. The district, I would say, when you look back over, again, the last couple of superintendents, leaving out, not in an ideal situation. No one from their cabinet was considered or promoted. We built a system of leaders, and we have some really strong leaders on our team, and the investment in them was extremely intentional. It's about succession planning with our school leaders, with our APs, with cabinet, our central office leaders. The goal was to uplift them and give them the opportunity to grow and fall into these spaces. And that's what has happened. The other thing, I don't know if you're aware, Malika, but Dr. Angel Turner she got promoted to the interim of D65. But are you aware that also one of my other assistant superintendents, Dr. Underlead Kilgotti, just got the superintendent job in Oswego 308. So that's came in with one superintendent, we're leaving with three. That talks a lot about leadership. He'll be starting July 1st. He just got announced he got voted Wednesday night. So I'm excited about just the culture. So regardless of what you hear, check the receipts. We're getting it done. People are recognizing what's happening in D65, and they are reaching for our leaders like crazy. And there'll be more, because we've built a great system with an amazing board governing it.
Congratulations. That's the sign of true leadership, when you have more leaders behind you. So when you leave, hey, I'm confident. We've been running together. We've been working together. You got some more leaders ready to kick more doors in. That's the sign of true leadership.
Yep.
If it just ends with you, then.
Yeah, and they're both leaders of color, both
Yes.
African American, Dr. Turner and Dr. Kilgotti. I couldn't be more honored to have led this group. I just got blessed and fortunate to be able to inherit this team and build some pieces to it. And now they're off leading their own district, so it's great.
That is awesome. That is a celebration.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
The commission. The commission.
Yep.
You were someone I was like, I told State Rep LaShawn K. Ford, I was like, you have to put Dr. Horton on this commission. And he did it. I mean, your resume spoke for itself. Like, oh yeah, he's perfect.
Thank
So
you.
you have to keep us posted with, what's happening with the history, Inclusive American History Commission.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really great because it's turned into ISV's put out some new guidelines around their all-inclusive history, social studies. So we wrote guidelines in 3 areas. One being resources. The other one was like model districts that were using that. And what has happened with this is under the prior state superintendent, they built an entire equity continuum piece. So districts are now getting public, I want to say, feedback from the state about their efforts around equity work in their districts in the areas of hiring, student performance on achievement, and discipline. And I think it's all connected and correlated. I would say Illinois is probably one of the more progressive states when it comes to that work. So there'll be some results that's going to come from that's going to yield some positive results from our African American, Latinx, our AAPI work, our LGBTQ plus community. All of that is really being elevated, and we have we're in our 2nd year of our all-inclusive history curriculum here in Evanston, and so it's an exciting time, just for this journey on this equity here in the state.
Well, that's a great gift. You are leaving the state. You left gifts with Evanston, Illinois, and now you've left a gift for the state of Illinois and moving on to Georgia. So Georgia, y'all taking a good one from us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you and your family. I've met your wife. She's absolutely beautiful. I know she's happy.
Yes.
She's got to be happy. I know she was concerned with all the craziness here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's another interview, but yeah, definitely concerned. So.
Well, I wish you all the absolute best, and DeKalb County in Georgia is gaining a true leader, a true positive disruptor who brings about transformation that is only going to make things better and improve. And thank you for all that you did for our youth, protecting them, keeping them safe, and preparing them for ETHS. And just thank you so much for just your character, your heart, and who you are, your leadership, Dr. Horton, and all the change that you did bring. And know that there are a lot of people here who appreciated all your work, saw what you were doing.
Yes.
And we love you. And you're an amazing, and I'm saying an amazing Black man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Malika. You keep putting the news out there where it needs to be. Keep it up.